Lagging.
Welcome to This Week in Canadian EdTech TV. My name is Ivana Zelic, and I'm a digital media associate. Today, I am honored to have joined me Robert Martellacci, Mindshare Learning Technology and Mindshare Workspace, founder and CEO. Today's podcast theme is the art of podcasting in the digital age. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you so much for having me, Ivana, on this lovely Saturday.
Yes, let's jump right into the questions about Podcasting 101. What exactly is podcasting?
Podcasting, and it's something we've been doing a long time, inspired when I did my master's in EdTech at Pepperdine in 2006, teaching old dog new tricks, no pun intended. But it really is about creating a series, a show, a regular contribution, and sharing storytelling. Really is really what it's about, and it's having your own brand, as we have established ourselves over the years.
Oh, nice. That's great to hear. In light of the pandemic now, podcasting, video conferencing, and Zooms have become so popular. Why do you believe that podcasting is so popular these days?
Well, it's all about storytelling. And as we have become restricted in our ability to communicate in person, podcasting has been a great vehicle, as Zoom and other platforms, to connect with people and share and storytell, and it's a great historical artifact that you can create, and especially in education, having students, giving them agency to demonstrate their learning through personalized project-based learning activities, and whether they've been outdoors and doing a geography or science project to capture the learning and the outcomes and expectations. It's a great vehicle to do that, as well as for teachers too.
Yeah, it's really giving people like an outlet to really share their thoughts, their opinions and ideas, and really share amongst like a wide variety of different kinds of people as well.
Absolutely. And we're seeing it in business too. There are people who have never done podcasting who are entering the game. And that's terrific, because I've been at this 13 plus years, and, I see a lot of mistakes being made or improvements that could be made. And that's something that we want to share today with this Podcasting 101 session that we have.
Perhaps I'm a guest on a podcast. What are some important things you think I should be mindful of?
Well, right away, we're going to jump into some really simple, easy steps that you can take that we're going to make you look far more professional in a podcast. So we're going to have you elevate your screen. So whether it's a stack of books, etc. So why don't you do that right now?
Yeah.
So you happen to have a few books there, no doubt. It's kind of like being on a cooking show. So, and then move yourself closer to fill the screen. So you were too far away earlier. I think about somewhere between 20 and 24 inches. Okay. And you want to be at the same kind of height as the person that is interviewing you, as well as you want to, kind of fill the frame. The other thing is, your volume should be about 3/4, and make sure that you wear a headset, ideally, if you're on air, and in maximizing the quality, right? So that there's visual and then there's sound. So we've been doing podcasting on steroids, if you will, that we talk about being on video. Traditionally, we were only audio, and so the other tip I'm going to give you is I would be mindful of your background. So I've been So move the screen in the back, the dry erase board, because there's some lovely artwork that you could. There you go. So you got some lovely artwork in the background. Now you're looking like a pro already, and you're just starting. So in our case, we have the on-air sign right above my finger that we've added to our podcasting studio.
Yeah, I definitely think it's all about details, right? Little details to make it feel more engaged.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. So what question do you have for me next? Now that you're an expert interviewee.
Yeah, what are some tools you use to make your podcasting so successful as it is?
Yeah, so great question. So there are, initially I started off wearing my regular earbuds from my smartphone, And then I migrated, thanks to Stephen Hurley of Voice Ed Radio, to the Blue Snowball microphone, which is a very good device for a beginner. But now I have the Rode system, and that is thanks to my buddy Buzz Wood, the Buzz on Education. This is a great tool that it really enhances your quality of sound, and then my proper headset, so you hear fully, who you're interviewing only, and eliminate other sounds. And then today I'm not using it, but we also have a wide angle video camera that enhances the overall look as well. For the purpose of today, keeping it pretty basic, I thought I'd just share those tools. And in terms of podcasting platforms, Zencastr is a tool that we've used. It's free. You can subscribe to a more comprehensive version if you grow your podcast series. And this particular platform we have here, we've migrated to StreamYard, and it's highly customizable. It's subscription based. And so, and off air, we talked about some important tips around, branding your podcast and enhancing your overall image, and then the regularity too. If you're going to engage with an audience, you want to be consistent.
As I said, consistency is key.
Absolutely. And so you want to have consistency. You want to build your base. You want to have an expectation that, whether it's once a week or twice a week, to be sharing, and you want to post them somewhere, right? There's social media platforms that you want to share. And so we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. So it's a lot of work, but it's also very rewarding when you are storytelling and you have something to talk about that is really important. And we typically interview subject matter experts in education and business that we feel people might want to learn from. And it's the notion of, if you're not sharing, you're not leading, and you're not learning. Or mind sharing is, to use a new word in the Urban Dictionary that I came up with. It's so important to put yourself out there, right?
Yeah, share your knowledge to everyone else to help them grow and to help each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you have a very professional expertise in podcasting. How long have you been podcasting for?
As I said earlier, it's been over 13 years now, and I recall, one of my first podcast ever was with Dr. Seymour Papert, who is a world-renowned educational theorist who developed Mindstorms and the logo computing language. So he was my first interview, and I used Skype at the time to record our podcast. And that was my first most notable podcast, and the most, so I did have the honor of interviewing Sir Ken Robinson, who was the most viewed person on TEDx, and who passed away recently. He was in Toronto giving a talk to the Toronto District School Board leadership. And what's really cool is that, if you are willing to put yourself out there, and all you need to do is ask people. And most people, like 99% of the time, people will say yes if you ask them to podcast. And in having a time frame, so that's really important too. We typically try to keep our podcast 15 to 20 minutes because people today are busy. They don't want to be on an hour podcast. Shorter, more impactful, I think, is better. And one of the other things I'm mindful of is my distance from the microphone. You don't want to be too close to the mic. You want to have the right distance, and also the distance again from the computer, from the camera, and just filling that screen nicely and having a conversational interview. I find that's my style. So some are more prescripted, and I will start with a few questions, 5 or 6,
Yeah.
with my interview guest, and then I'll kind of free flow. And
Like,
that's,
go with the
yeah,
flow, to get the conversation going, because then that's when you come up with the best ideas, new concepts, creativity
right.
kind of flows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then for a person who's like wants to be a beginner and really wants to get into podcasting, do you have any tips that they can kind of work on, and like things that they can use as a beginner just starting?
Yeah, there's a lot of good information out there that you can garner on podcasting tips and how to start a podcast. And this particular episode that we've launched, Podcasting 101, will be shared with my future guests so that they are mindful of appearing on our show and really maximizing their performance and appearance, because it's you want to put yourself out there in your best light.
Yeah.
And so we will do more of this, no doubt. And having a script, I think, is also very important. And doing your homework in advance of hosting someone on your show. I always like to do a short introduction. You don't want it to be too long. You don't want to read 2 paragraphs. It
Yeah.
might be a couple of short sentences on the person to give context. And I always like to end it with any final thoughts to share. Kind of, if you didn't cover something, that they can jump in and say something a little further that they might have wanted to share earlier and that we missed.
Yeah, that's some great tips, some great advice. Thank you for all your advice and tips you've given us today. I think we're going to have a lot of great podcasts to come.
Absolutely. Are you going to ask me if I have any final thoughts to share?
Well, no, you just gave me that tip. I will ask you, any final thoughts to share?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think, public speaking is one of the most feared things in life. I think it's top 3, right? Like next to death and taxes or something like that.
Much,
But
yeah.
so I think it's really important that you overcome the fear factor. And not everyone is a natural podcaster initially, right? But practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah,
That it's the old adage. So I really encourage you to, and you can get in touch with us, and we're going to do more of this. We're going to do some micro credentialing and actually start creating courses on digital learning tools like podcasting that will help whether it's educators or industry folks really master the skill and optimize their learning. And so in the case of learning, you're going to enhance the learning opportunities and professional skills individually and for students as well. And then for industry, I mean, there's an opportunity to monetize podcasting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can create a business opportunity around it, whether it's advertising, etc., or sharing your expertise, whether you're a web designer or a coder or an engineer or a lawyer for that matter. People will pay for certain things that really are valued.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's about creating value. It's about community. So creating community, creating value, and as I like to say, keeping the learning curve steep, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one of my monikers. And so, develop your own style, develop a brand. We've got Mindshare EdTech TV that we've created. And with that, thank you so much for having me, Ivana Zelic, Digital Media Associate and U of T student in the Digital Media Management Program. Did I get that right?
A Digital Enterprise Management Program. Close.
Enterprise Management. My name is Robert Martellacci, the Mindshare Learning Report and Mindshare Learning Technology. Be sure to check out www.mindshare Learning to get your latest issue. And until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.